Hey YouTube, in this video I'm going to be doing a deck profile on my Souless OTT deck. So OTT is a very legit deck in the current format. It is a very good matchup against Kagero in particular. I will show some footage because people have been requesting on my deck profile videos, at least for Vanguard 0, that I showcase the deck in action. So I do have some footage from the stream that I did the previous day actually at the time of recording. So we'll show how it works, but I'll talk about the deck first here, and we'll go over the card choices and maybe some other choices that you could include. But okay, so for starters, the starter is Little Witch Lulu. Little Witch Lulu is really good because in the current meta, there'll be a lot of strategies that sort of try to deal with killing the frontrunner Vanguard. So, like for example, because MLB is a very, very commonly played deck right now, Kagero players will specifically design their deck to try to counter the grade 0. And what that means is they'll run stuff like a bunch of Berserk Dragons, a bunch of Tejas. Tejas in particular is the main one. Sometimes, I don't know right now, but like later on, if they do nerf, they probably will, but when they nerf Wingo Brave, you might start seeing Gatling Claw show up, and that'll be another thing too that could become problematic. But the thing about Little Witch Lulu is she doesn't show up on the field immediately, almost like a Ride Chain starter, kind of like Full Bow. So the nice thing about that is she hides from like the ability of, like, say Tejas or something to kill her early. When she shows up later on, though, when you ride up to grade 3, similar to a Ride Chain. So we use her because in the Soulless build, you want the goal is to empty out the soul. And she basically ensures that will happen, because when you ride up grade 3, she comes out to the field, so she removes herself from the soul. Then she will Soul Blast 2 to draw cards, especially to activate the Luckbird effect. So that's the starter. It's the Witch's subclan for the OTT, so it's definitely going to run this. Then we have 4 PGs, that's self-explanatory. Next, I have 4 of the 8K Vanilla, Oracle Guardian Gemini. You gotta run Gemini because you need it to be paired with Silent Tom, because more and more 16K to an 11K Vanguard is a necessity. We are starting to show up in a cross-ride format. Cross-ride, mainly, there's only 2 cross-rides right now. There's Dote, and then there's Phantom Blaster, Overlord, but those are like the one-off situations. But again, that all the more is that reason to run the 8K Vanilla, because when you use this paired with, say, Gemini or Oracle Guardian Wiseman, and Gemini makes 18Ks, that's the right number against a cross-ride Vanguard. So that's why I feel like this card is very, very important, so you have to max this out. So I would say 4 of this. It seems kind of plain when you think about it like that, but you don't really need a whole lot of different grade 1s, because the deck has so many really good grade 2 and grade 3s that the grade 1s lineup is pretty straightforward. So one that I am using is Battle Sister Omelet. So she's a new card that's meant to go in the Soulless build, because her effect is during your turn, if your soul has no cards, and usually it will always be that way, it gets plus 3k. So it's basically a 10k grade 1 attacker in the front row, kind of like K in MLB. So it's cool how OTT, I feel like OTT and Royal Paladins are the only ones right now that have access to a 10k attacker grade 1. So that's why you run that. And then the last card is a card that I chose to use in order to empty out the soul, because sometimes you run into a situation where you can't ride CoCo because you didn't either open up with it or you didn't get it in the time when you ride up to grade 3. So in those scenarios, we run this card to empty out the soul. But more commonly, what will end up happening is you ride CoCo initially. So you get Lulu out, you draw a card, then you activate her Counterblast 2 to draw 2 more, so you plus 3 cards to the hand. Then later on, you draw into another Scarlet Witch CoCo. So when you ride a second time and you have 2 more Counterblasts, you draw 2 more cards, but then you'll still have 1 soul now. You'll have the new, the first CoCo will now be in the soul. So this card is there to sort of empty that out, because if it's still in the soul, it shuts down a lot of really good effects. Like for instance, Glace requires you to have no cards in soul. So If you still have the extra CoCo in the soul, then now you're not going to be able to get this to be 12k. So you need to have a way to empty out that extra card in the soul. So we run 2 Talk Ryan, Machine Gun Talk Ryan. You can run one of him. I think 2 of him is good because the thing is it counterbalances Omelette. So Omelette is when you're in soulless mode, and then this guy is when you have a soul in the soul that you need to remove. So I mean, I think they complement each other in that regard. So moving up to grade 2s, we run 4 Silent Tom. Silent Tom is your win condition. You must run 4 Silent Tom. The only time you are not going to be running 4 Silent Tom is if you don't have 4 Silent Tom. If you have 3 Silent Tom, you run 3 Silent Tom. If you have 2 Silent Tom, you run 2 Silent Tom. Every single Silent Tom you have, you run it. That's how you make this deck, because this is your win condition. This is how you defeat Dote. This is how you defeat basically everything. And we'll showcase that here in a little bit. So 4 Silent Tom, I don't care what anyone says, 4 Silent Tom is the easiest way because you always are more likely to draw into him. You're always likely to have him in the opening hand. You know, I mean, there's a reason why 4 of is the max copies. So next we run the 3 of the 10k vanilla. It's a very good turn 2 ride. It prevents rush. You know, like, it forces the opponent to commit boosters early. And then they may position them in the wrong area if they misplace. I mean, stuff like that. And then you have Glace at 4 because it's your 12k attacker. And 12k is very, very important right now because MLB is the deck to counter. It's the deck to defeat. So 12k, it's a no-brainer. It's a card that can swing into MLB without a booster. So that's why we run it at max copies. And then the last grade 2 is Rock Witch Gaga. She got buffed. She used to be like a 7k in the original game. But now, basically, she's alive when you have no soul. So again, that's why you don't need to run 4 copies of her. Maybe 3 of her would be good, but the only thing I could think of is dropping 1 of the 10k vanilla for a 3rd one of her. But again, I feel like Oracle Guardian is more consistent because he, with the 10k, I mean with the vanilla 8k, is an 18k column to a cross-ride Vanguard. So that's a more consistent effect. But this can help you put like heals back on the bottom of the deck, or just put triggers back on the bottom of the deck. It flows through the deck, kind of like how Tsukuyomi did, sort of. I mean, you know how Tsukuyomi had the 6 soul, and then you have those cards like the Angel Dude, you draw a card and you put something on the bottom of the deck, stuff like that. So this is very similar, but it works in Souless. So for grade 3s, for Apollon, he's a very good backup Vanguard. You don't want to run CEO in here because you want to always have 0 soul. 0 or 1 are your numbers, ideally 0 soul, but sometimes you'll have 1 soul for rewriting CoCo. But CoCo is the only thing you'll ever rewrite. Like, if you are sitting on CoCo, you're not going to ever ride Apollon because it will shut down Glace. It'll shut down, like, you know, Gaga, all that other stuff. So Apollon is only like a backup Vanguard in the event that you don't have CoCo as the main Vanguard. But Scarlet Witch CoCo is definitely a really, really good card. It's a 10k body. It would have been nice if it was an 11k body, but at the end of the day, the deck has such a good draw engine. It has good critical or stand pressure, and of course that Silent Tom win condition. The fact that she can swing 13k when you have no soul is perfectly fine because it can hit the cross ride without a booster, so it's really, really good. So it doesn't really need the 11k body, but it would have been nice in terms of defensive capability if it was an 11k body. And the other grade 3, the heal trigger grade 3 is Sky Witch Nana, because you don't want to have this in the opening hand. That's why you make it the heal. You would rather ride Apollon over the Sky Witch Nana, so that's why we run her as the heal rather than Apollon as the heal. So my philosophy in assigning the triggers is always make the one that you don't want to see in your opening hand the heal, or a card that only has a rear guard effect should be a heal, not like a card that has a Vanguard effect. So this thing will usually come down on the rear guard column with like a AK vanilla behind it to swing 21. So that's basically why this is in here. And then the last card is Gentle Jim. He's in here, same reason as the grade 1. It's to empty out that extra soul. 1 copy is enough, and make him a critical or a stand. Now, in terms of trigger lineup, people are probably going to say, why don't you run stands? Stands are good. I'm not going to say that they're bad. They're definitely valid. I just feel like, and I said this in my stream, if you want to have an easier time, like luck stacking and just winning games, go crit. If you want to play more technical focus and focus more on the late game, then you want to try stands. The problem with stands is you have to have, it requires you to have more pieces to get the plays. What I mean by that is you technically, with stands to actually work well, you have to have a booster ready behind the rearguard, because your rearguard will kill the interceptor, and then your Vanguard will swing either into another interceptor or into the Vanguard itself if they don't have another interceptor. And then in that case, you're trying to bank on getting a stand to stand your rearguard so you can extend your attacks. Whereas, so in that regard, let's say you kill an interceptor, you swing Vanguard, and they take a damage, then you check a stand, so you swing again, and you deal them 2 damage. Now the thing is, you had to do so many different mechanical movements with the cards to deal them 2 damage, whereas if you hit a critical trigger, you would have just dealt them the 2 damage straight up. Like, you wouldn't even have to restand the rearguard at that point. Now, people will say, oh, well, they'll PG and they'll stay at 3 damage, or they'll stay at 4 damage. Yeah, but sometimes they won't have a PG. You know, there's always going to be that game where, I mean, those who have played Vanguard enough, in enough games, will know that there's always those scenarios where they just don't have the PG, or they damage check 2 of them, and they don't have the third one yet in their hand, or they had one, and then you get rid of it, and then they desperately need, like, the 4th one, and they don't have it. I mean, and you can tell when players are doing that, because if they'll be trying to, like, filter. They'll be, like, using Gojo to, like, discard a card to try to ditch and draw, and then, so you kind of know when they're in a bad spot at that point. But I feel like crits are still, there's an argument to be made for crits, because think about it, like, if you crit them early and they're at 3, and then they have that 1 PG in their hand, they lose it, and then they're still at 3 damage, and let's say they only have like 1 counterblast available because they used like one of the counterblasts for, you know, some starter effect like Conroe or something, or they used maybe a Berserk Dragon or a Blaster Blade effect or a Wingo Brave effect, you know, so they don't have like more counterblast because you denied them damage. On top of that, you might be at 4 damage and they're only at 3 damage because you PG'd them. Now at that point, they can't heal on their attack phase because you stuck them at 3 damage because you forced their PG out and with the crit, and they're still 3 damage. I mean, that happens a lot. I've seen a lot of like Gancelot whiff heals because stuff like that happens. So, I mean, there's an argument for crits. I feel like people are really, they're underrated in this game, is what I'm trying to say. So you can play stands if you want. That's definitely viable. But I think crits just make it way more easier. They're less of a headache to play. You don't have to rely on boosters in the back row. You can just kind of like luck sack sometimes. You'll just win games just because you double crit somebody early and they just didn't get the 6 damage heal or whatever. So, you know, and you dealing them damage, like they might lose good cards too. They might lose PGs or Blaster Blades or stuff that they need. So anyway, guys. I'll now shift over to gameplay footage, and I hope you guys enjoyed the deck, and we'll be back here to do a wrap-up. Oh, now he shows up. Kai shows up now after, like, all the Shadow Paladin stuff, and then the Bermuda stuff, and now we go to Misaki, and then he shows up. And he shows up with the farmer sleeves, too. That's hilarious. Man, this will be interesting. Because I don't think I've ever faced Dote as OTT. Alright, we'll go with this. See what he does. Okay, he matches me 7 for 7. Now, okay, he decides to put Conroe there. That's interesting, because he could also put Conroe to the side, because he has the option now. I gave him the option to do that because I didn't ride like an 8K. Interesting, he still decided to do it though. Okay, we'll go 10. I don't want to bring down my booster just yet, so we're gonna do this. Because of Tejas, that's the main reason why I don't want to bring out the booster. This other reason is Berserk Dragon is also kind of problematic. in the early game. He's going to call something behind Bellicosity. Or he's going to try to high roll. Hey Alex, man, this dude, he just like straight up high roll. It doesn't matter, won't hit anyway, because I'm going to go to 15. Hey Alex, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Oh, that hurts. Take a PG down there early like that. Oh man, that's bad. So we got, let's see, 6 cards are going to go to 5. Lulu's going to give me 1, that's 6. Then I'm going to get 2 more, I'll be at 8. Alright, now we got to decide where we're going to put Lulu. I say we put Lulu here, because CoCo will be 13 when she attacks. And now we draw 2. So you plus 3, you draw 1 and from the starter, and then you draw 2 more from going Soulless, and that's kind of bad that we went 2 heals out. But it is what it is. So now we only have 2 left. We need to retaliate. This thing is a good retaliation thing. Okay, here's what we'll do. This thing will go here to kill that thing. CoCo has to swing because she has Cyberline crits in this deck. And then what I'll do is I'll put this here too, because this is pretty strong. That's 18, so yeah. CoCo will go first, or no, CoCo maybe should go last. And we'll make a 21 here. Let's see what he does. Let's go like this. Let's try this. Gaga? Yeah, good call. Yeah, but the thing is, it can put it on the bottom of the deck. So that's true. That's true. But it creates like a stack that, I don't know. Okay, I see your point why you run Gaga. Oh. Crit trigger. So I think crits are just easier to work with in this deck than stands. I understand stands for the whole Silent Tom thing. This dude's getting super lucky. Not only did he heal against me earlier, like when he attacked me, he healed, but now he healed again on his damage. But it's okay. He's 2 out. I put 1 back. The thing is, the heal is right now the bottom, so I have to create a stack. So I don't know if you guys have any like suggestions here. Let me put the deck list on the stream actually. There, that's the deck list that I have. Oh, he did not cross right because I guess he doesn't think he needs to, or maybe he didn't have Overlord. Dude! Stop healing, please. Okay, but the thing is, now he can't do a Dote restand, so I guess it works out. I don't have enough counterblast to re-ride, so we're gonna have to skip that. I'm thinking we bring out Glace. Or Silent Tom. Silent Tom, I have 4 Silent Toms in the deck, so I'm not too worried. Yeah, let's bring out Glace. We have to put some kind of interceptor. Silent Tom can't hit that thing with the booster. I don't want to commit the booster just yet, so we'll do it like this. Thing is, we hit 21. We can hit over his trigger, so this is pretty good. Okay, so that's good. Alright, he's out 3 heals though. He's healing our early. If he heals again though, that's gonna be ridiculous. Okay, he's gonna do... Yeah, okay, here we go. So he's gonna do... Overlord will kill my 2 things, then he'll attack me with his Vanguard. Then he's going to pass triggers to whichever column. I mean, they're both 16. Oh, actually, that other one's 18. He's gonna put it on Overlord. It does, in this case, it doesn't matter because I'm a 10k Vanguard. It literally doesn't matter which one he puts it on, but he needs to put... If he checks the second one, he needs to put that one, like, right there, on the Overlord again. He does not want to put it on the other thing. I mean, I guess he could, but why? Because then, you know, if I check a trigger, then... Now, I need a trigger here, and I don't get one. Because I needed to kind of shut down one of those two attacks. Because I know I have a heal that's toward the bottom of the deck. Yeah, that's kind of annoying. But he has no interceptor, though. So, I know he has a perfect guard from Conroe. I assume he'll... Let's just assume that he has another one. This dude has gotten super lucky. He's healed... Oh, he has no more heals, though. That's the only good thing in this situation. I haven't checked any of my draws. I haven't drawn any of them yet, either. Now the problem is when I re-ride, I will lose my 21k, but I have to do it for the advantage. Alright, now I don't have enough perfect guards to survive using Apollon unless I try to high roll on getting him. So we're gonna need to swing 3 attacks to the Vanguard this turn, or at least attempt to. So we're gonna have to do... Yeah, we're gonna have to do this. This is... I mean... Yeah, at this point you have to do this and hope that he doesn't check triggers. Yeah, talk about really bad luck right there. Well, at least he didn't check anything, but I don't have... Unfortunately, I didn't check a trigger when I really, really needed one right there. I could have ended the game right there. Alright, so we will kill off... Overlord. That's very unfortunate. I could have actually ended the game. Technically, if I check any trigger, doesn't matter what. Heal, crit, draw, doesn't matter. Well, okay, if I take that back. If it was a crit... Yeah, I think you are. There are... It says there's 7 viewers, but it doesn't tell me the names. We're still alive because we're PG. So... I really, really need to draw a Silent Tom right now. Actually... Oh, I won't be able to use CoCo. Oh, yes! Oh, we got it, we got it. We got it. We got it, boys. This is it. We just ride skip because she won't actually be able to use her skill. It has to be 1 or less soul. I'll have 2 soul. Here we go, boy. You lost. This is it. Final turn. Here, just to add injury. Guess what, boy? Give me my card. Yeah, perfect guy. That's why Apollon is good. Game. You have no more heals. Boom! That's it. That's how you own Dote.